Hello everyone, my name is Philipp Straub and I have the pleasure giving this short interview. I want to tell you a little bit about my history. We're here in Vienna in my office. My company is called Titan International. You can see on my desk there's a lot going on, like every day. I started my company 26 years ago after actually finishing hotel management school. I didn't know really what to do with my life. I tried to work in a travel agency for a short while, but somehow didn't really feel happy there. Somehow only executing others people tasks was not really life fulfilling for me. But I had very good skills of organizing things for others. And at that time, some of the promoters who were doing concerts and shows asked me to book flights for their talents because I was going out a lot and they knew my face. And after a lot of these people got notice of my skills, organizing things very particularly and clever, they asked me if I don't want to launch my own business and look after their careers partly and handle their bookings and handle some of the events. So in 1993, I launched my company and it's going ever since. Of course, in that long time, we always kept the focus on our core knowledge, which is based around electronic music, connected to DJs and events on a global scale. But there were different phases. We, for many years, have been the exclusive sub-agency for nearly all the talents coming to Central Europe. We represent a lot of international talents on that level still. But a couple of years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I thought it's really important to go also abroad and outside of my region. And I had the luck and pleasure to again connect well with the right people. So since 2.5 years, I am head consultant and music director of the biggest event development in Dubai called Soho Garden, which includes 7 venues at the moment. They are open every day. We book like more than 400 events and shows on an annual base in the 7-month season. I'm trying to develop new projects from Morocco to Iraq to Bahrain to India and just go with the flow and follow my passion. So this is my short story. More questions to come. So what were some of the most important or maybe well-known brands and talents that I've worked with in my 26 years history with my company Titan International? So for the last 8 years, I was working very close with Coca-Cola and Monster Energy, and my company started to develop a program for them to support upcoming talents, which we use to organically embed the brand into the target scene, which in this case was my environment of electronic dance music. That was an amazing project. We had over 9,000 contestants from 133 countries every year, and it gained a lot of momentum. We were able to multiply sales in the first 2 years by 7 for the brand, and also helped a lot of talents around the world. Some of the well-known artists that I partly represent are, for example, Carl Cox, John Digweed, Sasha, all from England. But I also did a lot of concerts and shows with artists such as Paul Kalkbrenner, who I have in Vienna today actually, Chemical Brothers, Faceless, Solomon, David Guetta, Tiesto, Black Eyed Peas. We did a lot of shows in those years. So those are just some for the name dropping. Some of the biggest misconceptions about my industry and particularly my work is maybe that it's all only about showing off and that it's only about partying and getting drunk and posing, and it's very artificial. This is what a lot of people think. In reality, it's actually the opposite, because if you don't dedicate 110% of your time very focused on realizing your targets and goals, you will just not make it, because there is so much distraction. Of course you have to party, of course you have to be present on these events, of course you have to be in a good mood and all of these things, but it's absolutely important that you very, very fast and early find your balance in order to still have enough energy and focus and a clear mind to realize all your targets in the office or wherever you work on a daily basis. A lot of people try to make career in this particular environment, and a lot of them, most of them actually fail. So it's a little bit like Hollywood and all the waiters there waiting for the big career. Like everybody wants to be a DJ or wants to work in the industry connected to electronic music because it's obviously so glamorous and so nice. It partly is, but the challenge is the balance. Well, it's very important if you work on a global scale to still notice the differences in each individual territory, especially and particularly if you work with artists who are touring and playing between 120 and 200 shows a year and travel like nearly every other day to a different country and different place. So if we bring over artists, no matter if to Vienna or to Ibiza or other places, we really try to look after the local market and check the individual circumstances, economy, potential growth, long-term strategies, local partners to work with, media partners to work with, and so on. So it's really important to not only handle this business on a global scale from a desk and just answer requests and execute possibilities. But I think the difference is if you look into the detail. This will help everyone involved on the long term. And I think this is one of the main reasons that after all these years, we are still around. And so am I. So think about that. Future projects, it's always important to not only execute what you have already and try to be in your comfort zone, but also try to think ahead of the game, especially. So, what are potential ideas and possibilities you can follow up in order to grow your business, in order to keep your career and your company developing? So, like I said, from my work in Dubai, of which I'm very proud of, I organically connect at the moment with a lot of the regions in the Middle East. I also am going next week actually to India for a 4 city site visit because I have an offer to look after a big company and help them to redevelop some of their event strategies. I have an offer also to go to China to do actually the same. We have possibilities around, like I mentioned, from Iraq. I was in Iraq in the beginning of the year, which was quite an adventure, but there's a lot of potential. It's a bit early maybe, but it's good. Well, I particularly enjoy going to territories where not a lot of business is there yet. I really try to be one of the first in these individual countries, such as I was in Eastern Europe, for example. When in the early 90s we were one of the first people doing parties and bringing talents to the former Eastern European area, like Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia. So now I try to do the same and handpick territories and countries where I think there is long potential, but I can follow my heart and my passion, creatively building up brands, building up events, venues, and a structure. So these are some of the ideas that I follow at the moment. There's of course much more going on. There's one particular project I hope to be able to realize in the next 1 or 2 years in Marrakesh, which is one of my most favorite cities in the world. So follow my activities, follow my company's activities, and I'm sure you will find out more. Thanks for the interview.